we are going to get into we're going to get a little bit into the works of a Russian geopolitical thinker who I did not know existed until a number of days ago when Mr. Privet introduced me to some of his work. And so he sent me 2 of his articles, this Russian guy, and the articles were published in the 1950s. And in these articles, in one of the articles, was it in one of the articles? Yeah. In one of the articles, Mr. Ivan Ilyin, predicted in 1950 that Germany was going to have an interest in Ukraine, basically an interest of conquest, and that action of Germany, that expansion of German geopolitical hegemony will begin in Kursk. And you see the Germans, when the Ukrainians invaded Kursk, the Germans were heavily involved in that. They were heavily involved in that. Why? Well, it goes back to what Mr. Ivan Ilyin brought up back in 1950. He said that the Germans would have an interest in expanding their influence into Ukraine, to control Ukraine, because Ukraine is such a wonderful place when it comes to growing food. I mean, if you want to conquer a country to be your breadbasket, it's Ukraine. Ukraine, it has the most fertile soil in the world. I don't think any country has soil like Ukraine. It's volcanic soil, and the soil, I don't know if it's volcanic. Fact check me on that one. I could be wrong, but the soil in Ukraine that's near the Black Sea is so fertile. You can grow anything there. Anything. It's unbelievable. So that place is super important for countries that want to control territory that's really good for agriculture. Germany is not that far away from Ukraine. And so Ukraine would be a great place for Germany to control, for Germany, that is, not for me. I'm not supporting it here. But back in 1950, this this Russian writer by the name of Ivan Ilyin, he stated that Germany will have an interest in expanding into Ukraine, and that interest will begin in Kursk. That movement into Ukraine will begin in Kursk. And you see the Ukrainians invading Kursk last year, and who was heavily involved in that? The Germans were. This guy, Ivan Ilyin, very amazingly, he predicted in 1950 that Germany was going to come back. He said, listen, the Germans are going to come back, and they're going to obsess over Ukraine, and they're going to focus on Kursk. Oof. So let's look into this. To clearly imagine Russia in a state of this prolonged madness, it is enough to imagine the fate of the independence of Ukraine. So he basically says in this article that there is going to be, and again, he predicted this in 1950. He predicted that there was going to be a movement by European countries to create an independent Ukraine. So it says here that it is enough to imagine the fate of the independence of Ukraine. This state will have to first of all create a new defensive line from Ovruch to Kursk. Isn't that what happened last year? They invaded Russia and they wanted to take Kursk because they want to create a defensive line, just like Mr. Ivan Ilyin predicted in 1950. So it says here, and further through Kharkov to Bakhmut and Mariupol. Isn't that what all the Ukrainians have been obsessing over? Bakhmut, Kharkov, or Kharkiv, Kursk, these regions. So the guy really, really predicted this stuff almost prophetically. Accordingly, both Great Russia and the Don host will have to bristle with a front against Ukraine. Both neighboring states will know that Ukraine relies on Germany. He called it. He said it. Both neighboring states will know that Ukraine relies on Germany. Well, right now, Ukraine is relying on the United States mostly, but the second country that it relies on the most is Germany. And I think the Germans want to get to the top position of that. And I think that's why the Americans are saying what? The Americans are saying, okay, go forth, Germany. You be the protector of Ukraine. We will put the burden of Ukraine on your shoulders. And I think the Germans will happily oblige. because they want Ukraine. They want that breadbasket. It's a big breadbasket. And I think this is what's going to happen in the future, that the world will see that Ukraine will be dependent on Germany. The world will see Ukraine being dependent on Germany. Both neighboring states will know that Ukraine relies on Germany and its satellite, and that in the event of a new war, between Germany and Russia, the German offensive will go from the very beginning, from Kursk to Moscow, from Kharkov to the Volga, and from Bakhmut and Mariupol to the Caucasus. I think this actually could be a sketch for the future. I think this could be a sketch for the future in the sense that if the Germans rise up again, and I think they will, they're going to want to take Ukraine from the Russians. And they're going to want to take Kursk, and they're going to want to take Bakhmut, and they're going to want to take Mariupol. This will be a new strategic situation in which the points of the Germans' greatest advance to date will turn out to be their starting points. And this guy wrote this in 1950. And the reason for this is because the Russians don't forget anything. 1950, that was just 5 years after World War II. Or 6 years, or was it 5 or 4 years after? Yeah, 4 years after World War II. Some Russian guy named Ivan Ilyin is already saying, listen, them Germans are going to come back and they're going to obsess over Ukraine. And that's what you see happening. That's exactly what you see. And remember that video that I showed you guys of the German general, the big German general, Mr. Freudling, Christian Freudling. Remember this guy? I'll remind you. I'll show you guys the video again. Hold on. So it says here, German Bundeswehr Major General Christian Freudling outlines the objectives for the invasion of Kursk and the long-range precision strikes by NATO/Ukraine into Russian territory.
Also es ist richtig, diese Offensive in Kursk hatte ein mehrfaches Rational. Worum es den Ukrainern in erster Linie ging, war erstmal die Entlastung im Donbass, Entlastung zu schaffen, indem man die Russen dazu zwingt, dass sie Truppen in den Bereich Kursk verlegen müssen. Ein zweites Rational war, eine sogenannte Pufferzone einzurichten.
A buffer zone. Did you hear that? A buffer zone. Let's go back to what Mr. Ivan said. This state, Ukraine, will have to first of all create a new defensive line from Ovruch, this is the buffer zone, to Kursk, and further through Kharkov to Bakhmut and Mariupol. You see? And it says here, in the event of a new war, can you guys see what I'm looking at here? Oh, sorry. I'll just look at it through here. In the event of a new war between Germany and Russia, the German offensive will go from the very beginning, from Kursk to Moscow, from Kharkov to the Volga, and from Bakhmut and Mariupol to the Caucasus. So it says here that Ukraine will have to first of all create a new defensive line, a buffer zone, from Ovruch to Kursk. Let's go back to the SS officer over here. Mr. Crazy Eyes, yeah.
Das nicht aus dem Bereich Kursk quasi.
What does it say here? This is not possible to carry out military operations practically without interruption from the Kursk region into the Kharkiv. That's what Mr. Ivan was predicting. See? To establish a buffer zone.
Eine Pufferzone einzurichten, das nicht aus dem Bereich Kursk quasi ununterbrochen in die Oblaste Kharkiv und Sumy gewirkt werden kann. Ich glaube, wir haben ja auch einige Bilder gesehen, wie es in Kharkiv aussieht, wo die nördlichen Stadtteile quasi täglich unter Beschuss stehen. Ein drittes Rational war natürlich eine Art Faustpfand zu haben. Es war auch ein Rational, die russische Propaganda der Spezialoperation Lügen zu strafen. Zum ersten
Look
Mal.
at the eyes! He gets so excited. This is the first time we've seen this since 100 years. We haven't seen anything like this for 100 years. Another reason was to counter the the Russian propaganda of the special operation.
Zu strafen zum ersten Mal seit
For the first time, the demon comes out. For the first time in well over half a century, foreign troops are once again on Russian soil. It's sorry, I said 100 years. And a half a century. What happened a half a century ago? What happened a half a century ago? You guys invaded. So this is not really about Russia getting invaded by Ukraine. This is about Russia getting invaded by Germany through its proxy Ukraine. That's what this is. You're seeing it, guys. I'm telling you, you are seeing the beginning stages of us going back to history. It's pretty scary stuff.
weit über einem halben Jahrhundert stehen wieder fremde Truppen auf russischem Boden. Und natürlich soll
Mein Führer, of course, this should also have psychological effect. This has a psychological effect. Reminds the Russian Untermenschen about what's happened a half a century ago. Yes, damn it.
sollte das auch einen psychologischen Effekt haben. Nach innen für die Ukraine, als Bestärkung für die ukrainischen Streitkräfte, als Bestärkung für die ukrainische Gesellschaft und auch nach außen gegenüber
The demon eyes. I'm telling you, the freaking demon. The guy got serial killer eyes.
den Unterstützerstaaten als Signal, ja, wir
We are capable of doing it. We will make it. We are counting on your continued support for success.
können was, wir schaffen das. Wir setzen auf eure weitere Unterstützung auf dem Weg zum Erfolg.
Warum wären
There we go. So there you go, guys. The buffer zone, der buffer zonen. It's Kursk and Kharkiv and Bakhmut, and that's what these people want. Telling you guys. And Trump is gonna help bring the band back together. Oh yes. He's going to help to bring the band back together because what's he saying? Give it to the Germans. Give it to them. Predator eyes. Yep. Give it to the Germans. Give it to the Turks. Give Syria to the Turks. Give Ukraine to the Germans. Bring back the Reich. Bring back the Ottoman Empire, damn it. And even the Israelis are terrified. Even the Israelis are terrified. And that's why the Israelis recently had the Nodule Committee coming out saying, we got up, guys, we toppled the eye doctor. We toppled that Assad guy. We should have never done that. That was a naughty thing to do. That was a bad thing to do. We should not have done that. What should we have done? We should have left the eye doctor alone. Because now what do we have? What we have is a revived Ottoman Empire right next door. That's what we have. The Assad curse. The curse of the eye doctor. You threw me out from my kingdom, damn it. And now the curse of Assad, the curse of the toppled eye doctor will return and haunt you. We shall return back. And you shall see the fruits of your labor. And the fruits of your labor shall be the Turkish scimitar and the red flag with the white crescent. And the Turkish serpentine creature will slither his way into the land of the Yahud. It's not going to be pretty. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. It's going to be Shoah Part 2. I hate to say it, but a lot of people are supporting Nazism, and they want to see Israel get destroyed. And so they're going to be in jubilation. A lot of people are going to be in jubilation. That's the thing. So they toppled the eye doctor. Now they're going to have to deal with a Turkish killer. And it's not going to be an eye doctor. It's going to be a Turkish hazuk and a scimitar. And that's the problem. You know, that is the problem. So what did Trump tell the Turks back when he was president? He said, give Syria to someone else. That was the Turks. And he's going to say, give Ukraine to the Germans. and the Germans are going to rise back up, and the Turks are going to rise up. They're already rising up as we speak. We see it. The Assad, the curse of the eye doctor. You see what I'm saying? This is the evil that the world has now entrenched itself into. This is the evil that the world has entrenched itself into. It's very dark stuff. Music kicked in just in time. Yeah, it's very dark stuff, guys. And you see the Americans just making a Frankenstein. You know, give it to the Turks, give it to the Germans. And the Germans are going to rise back up. The Turks are going to rise back up. And now the Israelis are saying, we gotta worry. They're like the two guys from the movie Bad Boys 2. This shit just got real. It's only going to get worse, guys. You know, and I hate to sound like I'm some kind of a doomer or whatever, like I'm a crazy doomer guy, like I'm doom and gloom, but it really is that bad. And every single year, every year that goes by, I don't get proven wrong. I get proven right. It's so weird. It's so weird how it works. I told people back in your mic is off? What? Wait, what? No. It's so weird, guys. It's like, I was warning people about this stuff back in 2016. In 2016, warning people about this stuff. And people didn't listen. But it's like 2017 came, boom. 2018 came, boom. 2019 came, and you just see it over and over. Nazism rising, getting stronger, getting stronger, getting stronger, getting stronger. And you see it. It just rises up, getting more popular, stronger, getting more entrenched into politics.